This gele right here is very stunning. I'm sure you guys agree. This was me on my wedding day, on my traditional wedding to be precise. This was how I looked, and this is how I typically like my gele looking on me. But then the issue with this particular type of gele is the headache that comes with it. I had a wedding last week Saturday, and I had to wear gele basically, and I came up with this stunning headgear that I made out of the Asooke that was given to me for that particular wedding. This right here is my own stunning, right, twist to wearing gele in 2021. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing how I made this particular headgear for myself out of the Asooke that was meant for a particular wedding that I went to. So if you're interested in knowing all about this whole process, then you have to continue to watch. Alright people, for us to get started with this tutorial, I'm going to start off by showing you everything you need for the purpose of making the headgear you saw at the beginning of the video. Before we get into it though, if you are watching this video currently and are yet to be subscribed to my channel, please do well to hit the subscribe button. I'm on my way to 500 subscribers on here on YouTube, and I need your support with achieving that milestone on this channel. I'm sure you guys saw everything I showed you, and now it's time for us to get started. For the purpose of the fabric that we'll use to wrap our headband, the plastic headband that you guys saw at the beginning, we are going to first of all get a piece of fabric. This piece of fabric is about 2.5 inches by about 40 inches. I just cut out a piece of fabric, so all you need is just a long piece of fabric that you know would cover the entirety of the headband that you're trying to cover. So what I'm doing now is I'm just using my glue gun to apply some glue onto the fabric and then apply the fabric onto the headband. I'm just trying to wrap the headband with the fabric basically. So just feel free to do that slowly and steadily. Try not to, rush the whole process so it doesn't get messy. So once that is done, in order to cover up the open space underneath the headband, you need to just notch the fabric that you already glued a little, just like I'm doing. And when I say notch, I just cutting the edges just a little to allow for flexibility, right? So the fabric can fold over and then cover up those open spaces that you guys can see right there. And once that is done, all you need to do is just go ahead and apply some glue and then fold the fabric inwards just to cover up the empty spaces. So that's all I'm going to be doing here for this bit of the video. Alright guys, so this is what the headband looks like. Underneath the fabric, like you guys can see, doesn't look neat. It's just somehow. So I'm going to go ahead to solve that problem by gluing on this velvet ribbon onto that space underneath that doesn't look aesthetically pleasing. Feel free to use your regular ribbon, your regular satin ribbon, if you can't, get this velvet ribbon. And once that is done, we're going to move on ahead to the next portion of this tutorial, and that portion is basically us tackling the Asooke fabric that we are going to be using to create the main headgear. So this is everything, right? This is it after I glued the velvet ribbon on, and yeah, this is basically everything. So next up, like I said, is the Asooke. The Asooke is 6 inches wide, as you guys can see. I'm going to try and zoom in for you to see clearly. So it's 6 inches. I'm going to join two pieces together to give me a wider piece of fabric. This, I joined it together on 1/2 inch, so I have about 11.5 inches of Asooke right here. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to mark 1/2 inch or about 1 inch on the length of the fabric, or is it the width now of the fabric, and then I'm going to mark 4 inches along the length of the fabric. This fabric I cut about 45 by 11.5 inches of fabric basically. So you remember I joined two pieces together to give me about 11.5 inches, and then the length of the piece of Asooke now is about 45 inches. Feel free to make it smaller or wider, because I used 45 inches because I want something relatively full, right? So all I'm doing now is I'm just turning the piece of Asooke inside out after joining it together. This tutorial is similar to the regular headband scrunchie that I gave you guys a tutorial on a while back. All I'm doing in this piece now is I'm just going on to stone it, and I went ahead to just press those stones that I showed you at the beginning, right? Those black stones, because the fabric I'm wearing, the main fabric I'm wearing along with this headgear, is kind of this same color, right? This burgundy and black kind of color. So I wanted something matching, right? So I went ahead to just press on some stones. And with attaching stones to this kind of fabric, all you need is your iron, really. They are the professional types of stone attachment machines, but for me, as a just a regular DIY person at home, all I do is I usually use my steam iron, to just attach stones to fabrics. All I did there now is I just passed the lining that was meant for gathering this piece of fabric, right? So I passed that lining. That lining is about 2 inches by 14 inches piece of fabric. So you just pass it through the entire length of the Asooke, and then it's going to give you this scrunched up look that you guys can see here. All I did then was just to burn the edges of the satin fabric that I passed through the Asooke, because satin has a way of just beginning to loosen up and just become messy, right? So I used that my matches right there just to burn the tip a little. We're doing that part, make sure you are very, very careful. Try not to burn yourself. And if you can, use a totally different type of fabric, the fabric that is not going to start loosening up when you pass it through the Asooke. That's just something else you can do if you want to avoid using matches to burn the tips of your satin fabric. Next up, I'm just going to be attaching the scrunched up piece of Asooke onto the headband that I already made at the beginning of the video, and I used my glue gun just to glue it onto the headband, but just to give myself extra security, because with glue it can fail you, right? So I decided to use my needle and thread just to do a little hand stitch right there, like you guys saw, just to make sure that the Asooke is properly secured to the headband. All I'm doing now is just adjusting, and voila, we're done. The Asooke headgear is ready and it looks absolutely stunning. As usual, I'm going to wear it on myself, and this is me here ready to go for my Owambe. We had a family friend had their wedding last week Saturday, so this is what I wore, and I got tons and tons of compliments, especially regarding my headgear. A lot of people seem to like it because, like I said earlier, wearing gele can be so stressful, especially if you're wearing it for an extended period of time. You start to get a headache as you go along, but with this particular headband there was zero headache. All I did was just enjoy myself as much as possible while wearing my mask, making sure I'm staying safe as much as possible. And yeah, this is pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, this is my mini tutorial, right? Make sure you give me a big fat thumbs up. That thumbs up helps YouTube spread my video to a wider audience, and it just helps to grow my channel. Also, if you made it up to this point in the video and you're yet to be subscribed to my channel, please help my life, help my hustle by hitting the subscribe button down below. It's free of charge. It's not going to cost you anything, so just subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any one of my other awesome content. I'm going to leave some videos on here on the screen for you guys to go ahead to catch up on. I have awesome content relating to hair and just DIYs and a bunch of other stuff. Feel free to watch any of those, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.